Now, a bit of update on the weightlifting camps for you. A lot of people have been asking about a 3-day option. So a lot of people couldn't make the full 5-day for the weightlifting camp. So we've opened it up for 3 days. And if you can make it with, it's hard to make it with work or family commitments. So we're very appreciative of people's needs and their desire to come as well. So the weightlifting camp, now you can select a 3-day option. So just email us. Obviously the price is reduced, of course, and you'll still get a lot of information in that. You'll get 6 sessions with us. So we will really take you through that technical model and give you an opportunity to just have a better understanding of weightlifting so you can progress your own weightlifting. And what I always say about weightlifting or coaching, or the goal of Sika Strength for anyone we're helping, is to speed up your progress, because you waste so much time when you don't know what you're doing. And these are things we had to learn the hard ways, or we had to go to different countries. We went to Germany, Romania, Kazakhstan, South Korea, all of these countries where you go and learn from those people. And we want to give you that information so you can learn from that and speed it up. So what took us 10 years to learn, you can learn in a day and a week, and hopefully then implement it in your own training. So check it out, email below. There will be 3-day options as well as a full 5-day for the camp. Welcome back to Sika Strength, and welcome back to my training vlogs, my being Owen. So we've got a couple of snatch sessions, some variations, we've got some plyometrics, we've got some squatting, we've got some bodybuilding. We're going to talk through why I'm using some of those, what cues I'm using, why I'm doing certain jumps, maybe why I'm using some of that bodybuilding assistance work, and the state of my body. First things up first though, is that bad news on the sprinting is that the track has closed down, and it's closed until 2025. So I don't know what I'm going to do. So there's no convenient tracks within the kind of a useful distance. So the track I used to use, the university college, was essentially on the way to work. So I could go there in the morning before work, get my track session done, and then go to work. And it was completely seamless and incredibly useful endeavor. So I've switched back to hill sprints recently, but obviously I want to keep progressing the flat, straight line sprints on the track. So there is other tracks around the place in the county I'm in, but most of those are at a minimum half an hour away, but more than 45 or an hour in some cases, and even getting used to those is quite complicated. So they're talking about the track not being open until 2025. So if it was a month or 2 or 3 months or something, it wouldn't be that big a deal. We just get over it, keep doing hill sprints, keep doing my plyometrics, but that's not the case. So I need to find a section of road, somewhere a little bit better, or a flatter section, a straighter section. And if you have been anywhere outside the Midlands in Ireland, you'll know finding a flat section of country is not the easiest, so a convenient place. So I need to have a think about that and find somewhere better. But it is pretty disappointing because I was really enjoying the track sessions. Apparently what happened was basically the track session, or the track, had gotten a bit too bubbly in certain spaces. I didn't think it was very bad, but apparently someone complained, and they'd reached kind of a crux where they had to close it down and now need to do a full renovation of the track, so not even a surface level or a superficial level renovation. Track session sides of woes, or track woes aside, I've been doing a lot of hill sprints and plyometrics. Hill sprints are great and they're useful assistance exercise for sprinting, of course, but they don't replace the main exercise. So in this particular snatch today, I'm just doing some lighter intensity and a bit more volume, so doubles and triples at between 90 and 100. Now at the moment, I consider 90 kilos about the start of working sets in the snatch or the snatch variations. Obviously for the variations a bit more meaningful, but for the snatch on the floor, it's kind of where I consider right now to be a meaningful way to use and get some meaningful results based on my current, lift that I've done from the floor, the heaviest lift I've done at 130. So I start considering that beneficial, where I start doing volume and just doing lots of doubles and triples. And the main thing I'm focusing on at the moment is particular my start position, but my back position during the lift and throughout. And then the other thing I'm really focusing on is my extension, so how straight it is and how well I use my traps and how well I use my arms in that vertical extension. So in the start position, what I really need to focus on is chin up, the most extended back I can achieve through my upper and lower back as much as possible, have it as rigid as possible, pulled up as much as possible. It feels like so much to me, but in reality it's not a huge amount. But I need to maintain that position off the floor so I can get into a good position before I pull, Sometimes I'm not as consistent as I need to be with it, but then immediately I will lose it. And you'll see in some of the later snatches, you'll see that my shoulders will rotate slightly forward. And as soon as we see that forward motion of the shoulders, it lets me know that I'm not keeping as good a back position as I can. And I can see the difference when I do keep them. So I really need to keep working on that as much as possible. So that's the main focus, and probably will be realistically for the next few months. So it's a mistake sometimes we make to think that when we focus on a cue and we get it right for one section, it's time to move on to another cue or another focus. But in reality, that is most certainly not the case. So we are continuing the goal of a more aesthetic physique, and we're just pushing for a bit more fat loss and obviously building more upper body muscle. Obviously, the assistance work I'm using is in relation to progressing jiu-jitsu, progressing my snatch and clean and jerk and back squat, or well, not clean and jerks now, but my athletic assistance work. So beneficial to both the lifts I'm doing and the training I'm doing, as well as aesthetics, which there's a huge carryover between the two of them. So lots of upper back and pressing. Then we moved on to a very, very quick plyometric day. So this particular day, I was tiling my bathroom. So I was tiling all day, and I only had like half an hour to train. So I was supposed to be going to see Dune 2. So the first time in the cinema in 18 months or more. But unfortunately, the boy didn't go to sleep on time, so we couldn't go to the cinema. So I'll have to wait for a pirate version of Dune 2, I suppose. So this session literally had 15 minutes. So I did single leg hops and then touch and go or rebound counter movement jumps, which are pretty good. So my hip is getting better. I just need to stay super diligent with it. Some days it's not as good as others. And for me, the foam roller isn't quite as good as the barbell. I need a bit more pressure and a bit more weight. And the barbell is something I need to do before every training session. So it is improving. There's less pain across a larger surface area, which is great. But I just need to keep on top of it. And sometimes it affects the jumps. Doesn't ever seem to affect the snatch at the moment. And then on this particular day, you'll see that my squat was the best it's been in weeks or months even, because the hip freed up so much. So I need to really stay on top of it. And the soft tissue work, even more than the stretching right now, is more important. But it is just a bit time consuming, and I've been lazy with it. And someone was asking me about, what's going on with the hip flexor or what's going on, and they were saying, was I just not paying much attention to it as I should have been? And that's pretty much the answer. I didn't do the work I needed to do, so it's still waiting for me to complete. Now, here's one of the variations I'm getting rid of, and that is my hang snatches. So hang snatches from above the knee. I was using those originally as just an assistance exercise, focus on speed and extension in the second and third pull. But while I'm getting some of the speed, my extension isn't good enough. You can see I'm leaning back and I'm reinforcing something I don't want to be reinforcing. You'll see as I lower down that there's too much space between the barbell and my leg. And you can see on this 115 that while that's the heaviest hang snatch I've done, it isn't good enough, and it's not good enough technique. And while I could keep going heavier with them, it's not a beneficial assistance exercise for me right now. So I will replace that with no foot snatches. So we're kind of narrowing down to pause snatches, low hang snatches, and no foot snatches. But to be honest, right now I kind of hate pause snatches, so I'm probably not going to do them as much as I want to. So I'll most likely be focusing on low hang snatches and the no foot snatches. No foot snatches are always great for me to focus on the extension, so I will be doing those and introduce those last night in a session. Then we moved on to that same day with the hang snatches, some back squats. So hip flexor felt great here. So I was doing some 5s at 170. I think did like 3x5 170. Then I moved on to multiple sets of 5 at 200. I was pretty happy with how these are moving, and the sets were getting better and better. So this is kind of moving like how it was before Christmas. There's my boy. So he was training with me today. And then on the second set here, you can see I'll start laughing on the second rep because he's very patiently waiting for me to finish my set, but he's also trying to make me laugh. So it was useful, but also the weight was feeling very, very easy. So obviously not a major issue. A couple of people are asking about the 200 for 20, and the answer to that is I don't know. I'll keep going with training and I'll see how it goes. So those 200s were feeling so good, I decided that I would bump up to 220 even after all those sets for a quick triple, and was feeling very good. So I'm very happy with that. So nice and easy. So here's a second set of 200. So I was going to do another set of 5, and I was like, you know what, that feels too good. I'm going to go 220 and bust out some 3 reps. So very happy with these, and still very happy with the loose Ajun shoes, but I'm very happy with how the hip flexor is feeling. I've also made major improvements in my elbow, thankfully. So we're 7 sessions in now, 6 or 7 sessions in with the therapist, and finally seeing a huge improvement. So really, we're closer to full extension than farther away now, which is fantastic. I know loads of people have been asking, and I'll keep saying this every time just in case someone misses it, but I won't be reiterating, or won't be doing a video until I've reached full extension. Otherwise, it's a useless video for you guys. So we saw some single leg jumps there. Also on that day, I tested my max kind of counter movement jump, and I'm going to figure out a way of measuring that more specifically, because I want to kind of see in progress and see how it's moving and see how the jump is progressing in itself. Single leg jumps are actually quite good. On the box jumps, I didn't think I'd get as high. But then we moved on to the preceding day, and we are doing this kind of the heavier snatch day of the week. So I intended to work up to at least 130 in this session. It didn't feel fantastic. It actually wasn't a technical issue. It just wasn't quite there, and that's just weightlifting in some senses. So here's 120. So again, nothing wrong with it, but not great. Not like the 120 doubles from the week before, or wasn't super strong overhead. I was feeling kind of slow in that second pull. So I waved up to 125 in the first set. So this is kind of heavy enough, but I wasn't happy with that shoulder position. I wasn't happy with that chest and back position off the floor. So I waved back down to 100 kilos and better position here. You can see these are better quality lifts. So I need to really reinforce that position as much as possible. So I'm good here. Still a little bit of movement to the shoulder. In the wave up, I did more doubles. So I ended up doing about 12 sets of snatch from about 100 kilos up and down, which might sound like a lot of volume, but that's what you need to get done to lift the big weights. So here we go for 110 kilos for a double. So really forcing the chest up, but still a little bit of that shoulder moving forward slightly. And then if we look at this 115, especially the first rep, this is probably the one I was happiest about in terms of that shoulder position. And you can see it's faster, a bit more precise. So we're going to keep that rolling. So back up, second rep of 115. Pretty happy at that. After the elbow, I think, is ready, I'm going to get the therapist to move on to the shoulders, because definitely a lot more work needs to be done on those. So then 120 for a double, nice and solid. First rep is good. This was the 11th set of the session. So I was nice and happy with the consistency and the closeness. So we're getting there. I am, as you may know by now, a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to tactical models, and it is incredibly important. And then finished off with a 130. So I was pretty happy with that 130. And I said, look, we'll leave it there. Then we finished off with some pulls at 135. And then off the floor, I was just pulling super slowly, like a tenth of the speed as I pulled off the floor, focused on that position. And I can feel how much better it feels when I get it right. So that will be the endeavors for the next couple of months. And hopefully we'll see the results on the snatch.